watching us from, welcome to Uctv Sports Link. Today is a Thursday, the 4th of January 2024. You're already in the new year. I've already started seeing comments that just 11 months to the end of the year. What have you done in this prayer? But of course, it's just starting. So meaning that a lot of things are just kicking off. In the world of sport, it's just a continuation of last year. A lot of events are just continuing. But of course, some few events are just starting. In the tennis, the Australian Open, like I told you, is just kicking off. Most of the tennis stars are in Australia in preparations, of course, for this big tournament of the year that's kicking off that side. WRC, of course, most of the conversation that side is the Rally 2 cars that have been introduced by Toyota. Remember, Toyota is the powerhouse when we talk about cars in this entire world. So they have been doing something very great, of course, in Rally 1 in the hybrid. They introduced, of course, the Rally 2 cars that are going to be starting off, of course, this very year. So those that will be going in WRC here in Kenya, you'll be having a chance to see what these guys brought you that side. Of course, here locally, in motorsport, yesterday we had a general assembly. A lot of things were agreed upon that are going to be running this federation for this year. So I'll be giving you a hint about that. Then not forgetting the StarTimes Uganda Premier League, where yesterday, Bull Football Club were beaten for their second time this season. We're also going to be looking at that. Vipers were able to win their game. Livingston Barbers winning his first game there as a coach. Then across the borders, a lot of things happening there. Of course, mostly the transfers. Players are trying, of course, to shift from this club to another. But of course, in our last segment, we're going to be looking at some of those clubs, of course, that are going to be very much affected by the Africa Cup of Nations and also the Asia Cup. Remember, all these tournaments are going to be happening in this very January. The Africa Cup, then the Asian Cup. So basically, that's what we're going to be talking about today, of course, in our last segment. But of course, we'll also be looking into the Italian Serie A, then also in Spanish La Liga. A lot of action happened there yesterday. My name is Ssemugenze Mustafa. In the house today again, I have my brother, Tega, Izcson, is also with us today. So we're going to be discussing a lot of things regarding sports. Izcson.
Yes, please.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity once again to the viewers of Uctv. As always, we are entitled to be updating you on the latest sports updates. As our title says, that is the sports link. So you just keep your eyes on set for the latest training sports updates that are making headlines. As always, Izcson Tega, the sports encyclopedia.
Yesterday we had a couple of games Izcson that we played. I think let's start with the FIFA Women League, Hilights League. Moses Magogo, the president of Kampala Queens, has invested everything that he can in this team, that is Kampala Queens.
Yes.
We all know that when you talk about women football, you can't talk it in two sentences without talking about Kawempe Muslims, because they have done everything in this league. But as of now, I think they don't have so many players that you can think of that are most of them are just starting players. But yesterday, they were able to beat the experienced squad of Kampala Queens. Imagine at their very home.
Earlier on, that is Kampala Queens are even the defending champions of this title that they took last season. However, as you stated before, that you cannot talk like two words like women football without talking about Kawempe Muslims, who also held like the most wins of this trophy after taking almost many years when they were the sole team that is taking this trophy. Under their stewardship, that is Ayubu Khalifa, even the national team, who has been also performing, that is on the national team. You can really feel out that his experience does not need any introduction. He's such an experienced coach and has done more, that is on women football. Yesterday, coming at the Philip Omondi Stadium, or StarTimes Stadium, where Kampala Queens host their games, it was such an intense battle, reason being that two big teams or top teams were fighting out for supremacy. On coming into this game, Kawempe Muslim managed to be victorious after edging that win. That was 2-0, courtesy of 2 goals that was from Agnes Nabu Kenya. Since then, that is Kampala Queens did not respond back. What does it mean? It means that among all the games that have been playing so far, now that is Kawempe Muslims, has gone to 10 points. Level still on points with Kampala Queens. However, the difference, that is goal difference, where Kawempe Muslim still hold a superior advantage over Kampala Queens. So we hope if they continue with such form, maybe they can replicate the previous performances they had before Kampala Queens emerging into a top club.
All right, there is that player. There is one player that I didn't think that would be in this team. By the I did not even know that currently she's at Kawempe Muslim, because recently, I've just forgotten the name. She's a midfielder. She was even recently playing for the national team. She was in United States of America. But of course, seeing that game, that's where I saw her. She's from Bala. I just forgotten the name. But of course, when I remember that name, I'll give it to you. He's one of those experienced players that, of course, that we have in the nation, by the way. He has done a lot in football. Maybe when he went to America, things did not happen well for her. But she was one of those players. I think her being in the midfield, of course, it was something very instrumental for Kawempe Muslim. And maybe, Izcson, the other thing that you talked about, that is, of course, the Ayub Khalifa. Of course, we know Charissa.
The Ayub Khalifa influence.
Yeah, influence. Then, yeah. Charissa Yeko, when we talk about women in football, yes, he has tried. At the national team, I think he didn't do very much, but I think he's one. You can't rate him. Yes, he's good in football, but when it comes to women football, you cannot rate him with
Ayub Khalifa. The reason the gap differs, reason being that even Ayub Khalifa has been on the national team, coaching these girls. That is on the national team.
That is Udaya, that player you've seen putting on shirt number 12.
Until the introduction of that is the South African coach, you can really feel out that he knows these boys, he knows these girls, and has stayed more time with them. Also at Kawempe Muslim. Second, even the experience in the midfield you've talked about of Udaya, it also matters. Despite the fact that you want a young squad that can grow or can mature, but still they cannot mature without an experienced player who can give guidelines or to give a track to what the team will be aiming for. So as per result-wise, yesterday I think it wasn't all that a shock. Maybe to the person watching would say that how can Kampala Queens be beaten, that is at Philip Omondi Stadium. Any result can come against an opponent. If at all it was a minor team like Lady Doves or etc., but Kawempe Muslim, you cannot discredit their performance. They are quite good.
Okay. All right, of course, that is Kawempe Muslim. By the way, this game was supposed to be played back earlier, but due to the busy fixture of Kampala Queens, of course, they were out for the international engagement, so that's why it's the only game that was played in the midweek. But the FIFA Women League will be resuming over the weekend. A lot of games, of course, will be played over the weekend. That is a Saturday and Sunday, and we'll be here to give you that coverage, of course, of those games.
Just some of the key highlights. I think Kampala Queens will be taking on, that is Wakiso Hill.
Yeah, Wakiso Hill.
I think that one they can bounce back to winning ways. Reason being, this Wakiso Hill, I think, isn't that also a hard hill to climb over Kampala Queens. Maybe they can reflect or they can recollect back their mistakes they had in this game, and they can bounce back to winning ways.
All right, of course, that is what is coming in from there, but of course we'll be giving you more of the games that will be coming from that side. Yesterday in the evening, I had the FIFA General Assembly, the FMU. I don't know why FIFA, that sentence when I'm talking about FMU normally comes there. But of course, FMU yesterday, I had the General Assembly at Kopa Chimuni, that is in Lugogo. And of course, a lot of things, the General Assembly was about a lot of things. But of course, most notably, it was about, they wanted the suggestion is Izcson. Because you remember, FMU president, of course, the current regime that is taking over this body, that is headed by Dipu Paleria. Of course, their term is ending in this very January that we have. So they were supposed to be having elections in February. But of course, they have the new Sports Act that is going to be, that they have to follow. Remember, the Minister of Sports.
It's like a guideline when you are in office, what you will use.
It's like a guideline. So the Minister of Sports gave them a new Sports Act that they have to follow. Remember, last year, I think FME is one of those sports that were given, of course, those federations that were given some good money.
Yes.
To see that they
it depends on the performance and the relativeness that is in the people. Because if you check out motorsport and the football, I think they have the majority of the fans. You can never fail to go to Festino City when they have a huge crowd.
And the difference is actually between this is that motorsport, of course, football fans, of course, yes, there are many, but they don't even appear on the football pitches.
On the football pitches.
Yeah, but
they
the motorsport fans,
in words,
of course, they appear in words saying that maybe I support Express, I support this. I think the only field
but the presence where you need them to support the association, they do not appear.
Of course. So, but motorsport, I think the only difference is that wherever there is an event for motorsport, so many people come, of course, to take part. So that General Assembly that you're seeing on your screen, of course, what was reached on, that is, of course, yesterday, like I've told you, is that, of course, they decided that this time around, of course, they are going to be electing, according to what came in from that side, of course, they're going to be electing an interim executive to implement the new constitution and compliance, of course, comply to the National Sports Act of 2023, and of course, as well as run the current activities, including, of course, the sporting calendar that is going to be starting off next month. So they are going to be electing an interim committee. So that is the president, the guy that is seeing on your screen, Mr. Dipuro Paleria. So he's going to be, of course, stepping down for that period of 6 months. So they are going to be electing a committee. That committee is going to be running the federation for the 6 months. Then after, they will be having, of course, the general elections for the new people, of course, that will be running the federation for 6 months. So this election is going to be happening tomorrow. It's going to be happening in February. That is, of course, on the 3rd of February. That's where, of course, it's going to be happening. So we shall be giving you more of the updates. But, of course, 47 people vote for not voting in February, and interim, of course, will be appointed. So they collected, of course, votes. So there are some people who are saying no, they should put in a new body. And, of course, there are some people who are saying, of course, they should again put in, of course, they should vote that interim committee. So that's what happened yesterday at Copper Chimney. A lot of people, of course, came in. Most of the clubs were represented. That is, of course, at this conference. So we'll be giving you more that will be coming in from that side. But Izcson, I think, with no doubt, I think motorsport last year has been one of those sports that have been catching the eyes of people.
Has been some of the top performers, or even not the best. Reason being that amongst all the events were held, previously the one of Toro, that you remember that one of Fort Porto, that is the tourism city. We had majority of fans. The one of that is the Hoima Masindi, we had many fans. The one of Mbarara, I've never seen any race that is or an event amongst all the 7 races that are scheduled in the calendar year that has failed to attract over 20,000 plus. I think as performing wise, it's one of the top performers, maybe even it's in revenue. That's why they collect even more. That's why this association and even the minister has to follow up, depending on what the board offers to we, the people who are down or who support out the game.
All right, that is what happened yesterday in the FMU General Assembly. Of course, we'll be giving you more. Remember, the first event of the year is going to be happening in Mbarara. That is in February. I think just 1 week after the elections, it will be in that second week. Of course, on that weekend of the second week of February, that's when, of course, the first event is going to be happening. So we'll be giving you more that will be coming in from that side. In the Star Times Uganda Premier League, of course, yesterday a couple of games we played. Izcson, let's start with the game of URA. Of Arua Hills.
Arua Hills.
Yeah, they were beaten 1-0 by Express. But I expected more goals from this game, because even Arua Hills got a red card, of course, in this very game. So I expected Express to even score more, though they got the 3 points.
When we were here yesterday, you had anticipated upon this game, giving a sure win, that is to Express. Still, they did not fail, reason being that they have caught up some form. I think in the previous 3 fixtures, they have gotten back-to-back wins, replicating the influence of that is Alex Isabiriye, the experienced coach, former national team player, and even his presence where he has been, I think has been influential. I remember him at the times of Bolu FC when he managed to win them for the first Stanbic Uganda Cup. Then later on, last season he was at Vipers where he managed to win the 2 trophies, which we nicknamed the Salon. Remember those events. Then out of nowhere, his term or his contract was terminated, I think, because of mutual consent. Then later on, after his departure, we started seeing that is Vipers struggling, and then he has got an opportunity that is at Express Football Club, which earlier on had a very good state under Charles Odoch, remember earlier on. However, as things went on, or as the fixture kept on piling, then results turned out to be negative to the side of Express. However, his inclusion or his appointment, you can really feel out earlier on he'd started at a low profile, but that one I can excuse him, reason being that when you are coming to a new club, first and foremost, you've not gotten the style of play of the players, the system they play, to select the players and how to suit them, that is into your playing style. However, as time went on, or when he got used to the team, he has managed to deliver results. And I think Express now have bounced back, that is to 6th position. I think with such performances, after even seeing that the Bull is starting to falter at the top of the summit, I think Express is closing up the gap. You never know what may happen come the start of the second round of the Star Times Uganda Premier League.
All right, that's one of the games that were played yesterday. Of course, Express getting that win, the 3rd consecutive win for Alex Isabide. That is the head coach of Express Football Club. But of course, Bull FC were beaten yesterday 1-0. Sorry, 2-1 by Gaddafi in
Busoga or Ginger Derby.
Yeah, because all these teams in Busoga come in, of course, in the Busoga, in the Ginger region. But Izcson, I didn't expect this. We all know that Bull has been struggling.
Gaddafi
has been struggling with results. Bull has been the better side because they had just lost only a single game and only one draw from so far the games that they have played. But of course, succumbing to Gaddafi Football Club. Did you see this coming? Because yesterday we also didn't expect. By the way, I think we gave it a draw.
And I told you earlier on that there are some things that come with a derby, more so when you are all fighting for superiority in the same area of residency. These people almost, I think, they share even the same funds. Even some others may say that since Gaddafi is not performing well, let me turn to Bull. But only that Bull has been there earlier on before Gaddafi. Coming into this fixture, Gaddafi was even in the relegation zone, so they knew that they will be having no long distance to travel. You know, sometimes here, Mustafa, as per Ugandan standards, some teams are disturbed by the distance or the travel. You may find out that their financial preparations.
And it is, you know, it is almost, sometimes it's very good, for example, for these teams, because if they are going for long distances,
yes,
maybe to go a day before.
Yeah, to go a day before, but you may find that Gaddafi has a game today against Express, and they start traveling today.
Of course, because the expenses of going maybe yesterday, and of course being there the whole day.
They cut about that maybe when we go today, we can save that is money for the maybe housing or staying in the hotel so that we can just get back. So they knew that they will be playing, that is the table leaders, Bull, who are currently at the summit, that is with 32 points, knowing that we are playing neighbors who we share rivalry within the same the same district. So they had to dig their strength out. Reason being that they were at the Gaddafi Arena, that is their home ground. So I told you earlier on that maybe depending on the mode that Gaddafi is in, and even a Bull, maybe we can expect a draw. However, this game was very intense. Remember earlier on, even before we left we left when we left the program, I told you that now Gaddafi is leading 2-0. That how comes that it is leading 2-0? I said the football is all about scoring. But the problem that came in, Bull earlier on got a penalty, Mustafa. That was within 5 minutes. I remember the experienced player, that is Joel Mudondo, who broke through. That was Ginger SS by then. Later on came to Vipers, but things did not get well, and then went back, that is to his native, that is Busoga.
He also even went to those Arab countries.
He went to Arab countries and he came back.
I don't think he played even a single game.
He failed to mature or to get into the starting 11 over there. So coming back, that is at Bull FC, he picked up form. I think he feels more confidence when he's playing at home compared when he's away from, that is Busoga. So when he missed a penalty, because if at all Bull had gotten that lead, that is 1-0, I think maybe it could be quite very difficult for Gaddafi to bounce back with those 2 goals. So football, as I told you earlier on, it's a game of mistakes.
Yeah.
So if you meander out and you misuse your opportunity, the other team can get just a singular opportunity and it can capitalize on that, and then the game ends 1-0. So Gaddafi responded by 2 instant goals. That was 2-0. So it was quite late, that is for Bull FC to bounce back, despite the fact that in the 58th minute they managed to pull 1 back. But however, that wasn't enough. Gaddafi kept resilient until the 90th minute to go on and hold the 3 points, which helped them also to move away from the relegation zone. And currently, I think they are 12.
All right, that's the game that happened yesterday. Of course, Bull going into that loss, of course, that game against Gaddafi. So let's wait and see whether they will be able to bounce back and, of course, be on top of the table. Another game we saw Vipers, the game that I thought that maybe will be a little bit difficult for Vipers. It was very easy for them. Of course, beating NEC Football Club 4-1. And we saw, that is, of course, Livingstone Mbabazi, his first game in charge. Getting, of course, that maximum win. I think it was very good for him as a coach.
First and foremost, it gives him pressure and it gives him confidence. Reason being that where he has been, that is at Arua Hill, the team has been struggling, and even to showcase that is not the problem, still it was beaten. But I think me as a middle, the sports encyclopedia, I think maybe the confidence built into Livingstone Mbabazi can help him to pull out to Vipers Football Club. Earlier on, having poor results, it had gone like 3 consecutive games without a win. So bouncing back with a 4-1 win, it was quite influential. However, on his coming, he managed to make some few changes into the starting 11. You have this Ghanaian player, that is Oswone Famado, started the game, and also is starting the game as the coach paid him back, reason being that he pulled back. That was the second half hat-trick. However, earlier on, that is Yunus Sentamu had opened up the scoring about the 20th minute. But I think Mustafa, maybe NEC has also reached a time where it cannot go beyond what it can pocket. Reason being, I remember the previous fixture when Express went at StarTimes Stadium, it managed to thump them, was it 5-2? That means also coming back, also Vipers started from there to convincingly go ahead and thump them. That was 4-1, which helped to pull them back to second position or to title contention. Reason being, currently they have 27 points. 1 point away from that is the third, the people who are in third, and currently they are 5 points away from the leaders, that is Bull FC. You never know what may come in the future. So me, I state that now Vipers are back to the title race.
All right, let's wait and see. But of course, Vipers, according to his action, are back to the title race. Let's see how things are going to be happening. But like as I told you, of course, a lot of clubs are coming back. Express, of course, is back. KCCA Football Club, of course, it looks like it is back. And of course, let's
the likes of SC Villa, the likes of Express, Maroons. You can really feel out that this season, the title is very competitive. Maybe we can replicate the one that we had, maybe one in a million years. You remember when we reached when 3 teams are all equal on level points. Maybe it could be the same. All
right, let's wait and see how things are going to be happening. But of course, so far that's how the league is. We'll be having, of course, other games that is over the weekend. So we'll be giving you more that will be coming in. The rest from that side. We're going to be going into a short break. After the break, of course, we'll be coming back. And of course, we'll be giving you a lot that is coming that is outside of Uganda. All right, welcome back from that commercial break. You're still watching Uctv Sports Link. Across the borders, a lot of things are happening. In NBA, a lot of games are being played as of now. Izcson, Stephen Curry yesterday came back, and of course he was able to help his team, the Golden State Warriors, because they had a very long winning streak, but losing streak, sorry.
Yes.
But at least after him coming back, there is one thing that I'm seeing with this team, that is the Golden State Warriors.
Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, most of the times when Stephen Curry is not around, it's very hard for them to be winning games. I don't know how they are going to be doing with this, because he's also, I think, in his
36.
Currently he's 36.
Yes.
You don't expect him to be around for the next 5 years. For 3 years, maybe he can try, because he's still, you know, in NBA he's short. You know the short
He's 6 feet and 2 inches, depending on the players he plays with.
He plays with, yeah, he's very short. But of course, I was going to say that, you know, sometimes short people, do survive for longer. So I don't know whether he will be able to survive it, because if you try to look how he plays, apart from him getting a lot of injuries, he's one player that when they ask you, do you believe that he can be there for the next 3 years? I think you can say that yes, he can. Yeah,
it's quite sure. Reason being that for him, his style of play, I think for him, he mastered the three-pointer showcase. Reason being that there is nothing much he do with dribbling the ball or passing etc. But what he strategizes
on. But Izcson, I think even dodging is very good. Maybe when it comes to passing, that's where maybe it's not so good. But when it comes even
his
to dodging,
biggest weapon
of course,
is those three-pointers. That's where he concentrates most. I think just getting that ball and targeting there at the basket, it's not quite all that tiresome compared to taking over the different players in the different fields.
So long as you give him space.
I think when you provide him with space, he's still there, can even play up to like 40 years. Reason being that even right now, the likes of LeBron James are 39, but you may think they are like 25 or 29, the power they have, and even the style of play. I think his presence will still be on. Only that we have to play, or what Golden State Warriors have to do, that they play that he doesn't still get more injuries. Reason being that we have witnessed this in the previous encounters. After him going several games, after him in his absence, the team had failed to win until he has returned back. That means that even the fans of Golden State Warriors were worried upon their performances. But if such a big man is back, the star man who drives the team, and everything it rotates around him, I think maybe Golden State Warriors can get back to the level where they have been, let me say like in the past 4 seasons. Last season they were not all that competitive. So this season they also started by being beaten. Maybe there should be some reshuffles, maybe somewhere in the team to go ahead and improvise some good talented players they can get out to the colleges. However, for Stephen Curry, his talent is beyond reasonable doubt. I think he's one of the greats, but sometimes like the media does not talk about him. They only focus about that is LeBron James. But if it's talent-wise and his area of play is one of the greatest I've ever witnessed, that is in NBA. And his presence that is on the court really showcases what he's capable of doing. And you can really feel out. There is even just a singular game when he made almost 60 points. I think it had ever happened before. So it shows that let us just pray that he still continues to get back on form. We expect him to the level where he's supposed to be. Maybe Golden State Warriors can get back to the ears of the people or to the fans who love it most. All right, today in the morning, the Indian Pacers were able to beat the Milwaukee Bucks. That is by 142 to 130 points. One of the other games that was played today was the LA Lakers of LeBron James were beaten by Miami Heat by 110. 196 to 96 points. It's one of those games that, of course, that have been played today. So tomorrow, that's when we shall be having, of course, the other games that will be played, of course, in NBA. Remember, currently, of course, we're still in the regular season, so a lot of things are trying to happen there, in and there. So we'll be giving you more that will be coming in from that side. Like I told you, currently, the Australian Open, we're currently in preparations for the Australian Open when it comes to tennis. Most of the players, of course, were playing in the Brisbane Open. But, of course, currently, as we talk, currently most of them are currently, of course, playing in the United Cup. The United Cup, the biggest headline, my superstar, that is
Rafael Nadal.
No,
Novak Djokovic was beaten.
Has just been beaten.
But Rafael Nadal was able to go past, of course.
Rafael Nadal won his game yesterday. Novak Djokovic was beaten, and people started putting a limelight that in Australia, he was last beaten in 2018. So had gone 5 years without a loss in Australia. But you never know, depending on the cup, the contention, the limelight, and what it adds on paper, maybe could have not offered him so much compared to the competition as to the preparation of the big event, and you know, where he wants to make history.
Sometimes it is very good maybe to beat you in the preparation.
To beat you in the preparation than you beating you in the main tournament.
The bad thing about tennis, when you beaten, you don't have another chance to fight again. Maybe in football, you can lose a game in the group stages,
and you know that I will host him the next game.
Yeah, but in tennis, every game is a knockout.
Yeah, every game is a knockout. I hope after losing this, maybe to the experience has gotten, that is Novak Djokovic, knows where his weaknesses were, and maybe can capitalize on this before the biggest event comes in, because I don't think this is his main focus. This one is just preparation, or it's a warm-up to get into the main event. In the main event is where we expect that is super action, is the all-time top scorer, that is in the Australian Open. Currently in the men's category is the all-time top scorer in Grand Slams, that is with 24 Grand Slams, and even leveled, that is with the great Margaret Courts, still of Austria. That means he just needs only one Grand Slam amongst all the 4 Grand Slams that are played in the entire year to make history as the, maybe we could call him as the greatest of all time. But still that one cannot be said until actions are replicated, that is on the court.
All right, Rafael Nadal was able to go through in the Brisbane International quarterfinals, like Izcson has told you, by winning comfortably by 6-1, 6-2 over Jason Kubra. He's also a guy that comes, of course, from Austria. But he has told you, of course, Novak Djokovic, he lost his game. That is, of course, yesterday. He lost his game. That is, of course, against Alex Demniel. That is, of course, in the United Cup. That is also currently going on in that side of Austria. So a lot of big people, of course, lost. Emma Raducanu, that is the youngster from England. You know Emma Raducanu? Izcson, he came into a tournament when he's unseeded. No one knew him. But of course he came and she won the tournament. After that, everyone started focusing
it was
on him.
The US Open.
It was the US Open, though he has not again found that level that he was at the US Open. But of course, as you know,
in the entertainment world, we may say that is maybe is the one-hit wonder. But you never know. Has failed to add on the flavor he had, which brings more comparison between her and Coco Gauff, in that Coco Gauff, earlier on, even depending on the games she loses, she's beaten somehow like on the higher level compared to this one. So we expect more talent from Coco Gauff compared to Emma Raducanu. Reason being that this Emma Raducanu is from England. When you are from England, even if you just progress with a bless, they will talk about that the new Pele is born. Then after some few moments, you are out of nowhere. But in comparison, I think those are some of the few girls that will take the tennis to the next level. And in comparison to the other, that is Coco Gauff, it comes into the replication of the former Serena Williams. If you can really figure out when Serena Williams was starting this race, way back in 1999, she has gotten almost the same features, her style of play, and I think she can materialize on this and become one of the tennis greats. All right,
Emma Raducanu was beaten yesterday by Elena Victorina, of course, in Swiss States in the Auckland Classic that is currently also happening in Austria. Remember, the Austrian Open will be starting on the 17th, if I'm not mistaken, this very month. That's when, of course, this tournament is going to be kicking off. So we'll be giving you. So currently, they are participating in these qualifiers or in these warm-ups to the Austrian Open that are currently also happening that side. Away from that, yesterday, of course, the Coppa Italia, Izcson was played yesterday. We saw Atalanta, of course, that game against Sassuolo, Atalanta winning 2-1 against Sassuolo. But I wanted to talk about this game against Roma, taking on, that is, of course, Cremonese, Jose Mourinho. Ever since he went to Italy, he has not won any single trophy. And he has not even coming near to it. I don't know how he's going to do this. But, of course, we know him as a man
of trophies.
Of course, of trophies. Wherever he goes, he has to win trophies. But in Italy, so far, it has not happened. But the chance he has got, he qualified to the quarterfinals. Because this was round of 16. So he qualified to the quarterfinals. Should we see him going on to maybe winning this one? Because most of the other big teams are still there. AC Milan is there. Juve is there.
Domestically, hasn't gotten any trophy like in Italy. However, has managed to win a trophy, that is for AC Roma. Since 1992. AC Roma had never gotten progress, that is on European soil, when he previously won the inaugural, that is UEFA Conference League. You remember that one? When he managed to beat, that was Feyenoord. And even last season, he was beaten on the finals. That means despite the fact that he's not performing out to the heights or to the expectation they need out of him, but still his relevance can't be denied out. Reason being that at AC Roma, the club is in, you know what Jose Mourinho performs on, that he performs on a big budget or a club that overspends. But here at AC Roma, the club is not financially all that stable. That's why he mainly went to England to get some of the rejects from the different clubs that he managed to sign them. However, when they reached there, I managed to get the best out of them. The likes of, that is Tammy Abraham, Chris Smalling have been performing. Even him outly stated that you can never expect a trophy out of me, that is the Serie A, with such a squad I'm having, unless maybe the team impacts in more money so that we can compete up with the big boys. But still, in his performance, still has managed to make the team still compete into the top 6. Currently, they are in 6th position. That is in the Serie A table. Previously, they were beaten by, that is Juventus, who are title chasers, alongside that is Inter Milan, but had also won a game before we went to Christmas. That was against Napoli, 2-0. Coming into this game, that is against Cremonese, you can really feel out that this was somehow a weaker opponent. So there is still more room for him to improve. I think when he goes to the quarterfinals, anything can happen because you just need to win one. You go to the semi, and then you can progress to the final. I cannot rule him out because he's one of the greatest coaches that we have ever seen. Trophy-wise, he sits into 3rd position. That during his tenure as a coach has managed to win, that is 26 trophies. He's just shy of Sir Alex Ferguson, who has 48 trophies, and then there is another coach who has around 36. So his performance or his name that is on the football scene can never be ruled out.
All right, that is Jose Mourinho. He was able to qualify to the quarterfinals yesterday in that game against Cremonese, but today Juventus is going to be playing Salantina. Of course, should we expect Juve maybe to be shocked? Because I don't think Juve will be resting players. But of course, even if they do rest some of the players, Salantina is one of those teams that is currently in the drop zone.
Currently in the drop zone. However, in these cups, there are some shocks. Since it's just a single game, you can never know what may happen there. But paper-wise, or like head-to-head, when you go into comparison player per player, still Juventus sits with an upper advantage compared to the people of Salantina. So going into this game, we aim that maybe unless otherwise, but Juventus has gotten upper advantages over Salantina, can convincingly go on and win this game. Remember earlier on, Juventus were also the big boys, that is Italian football, winning trophy per trophy. But I think now it is almost 2 to 3 seasons when they don't win any single trophy. Currently, they are sitting 2nd, that is in the Serie A, just shy of that is Inter Milan, who I think are in better shape compared to them. So also this trophy could be thought about. That is by Massimiliano Allegri, in that has taken long and they have given him more time or some patience. Currently, they are not competing into any European competition. I remember when they were cut off, that it was from UEFA because of some allegations. So concentrating domestically would yield off if at all they win at least any single trophy there. So I give them an upper advantage tonight to go ahead and win that game.
All right, of course, those are the games that, of course, that is the game that is going to be happening today. That is when it comes to Italy, so we'll be giving Gilma that will be coming in from that side. Yesterday in La Liga, a couple of games were played. Real Madrid beating Real Mallorca 1-0 Of course, most times when you see a team scoring 1 goal, obviously there are 90 chances that a defender scored. So Ludi just scored, of course, this one for Real Madrid, and they were able to win only by a single goal.
Yes, that's how it happened. However, sometimes, as we stated before, that if you don't capitalize on your chances, you may fade out. If you to have a look or highlights of this game, Morocco were supposed to win this game, but I think sometimes it's just bad day in office. Earlier on, they were the better side, that is in halftime, having 2 shots that is being stopped, that is by the goalpost, where the goalkeeper could do nothing, but still saved by the goal, that is by the goalpost. Real Madrid had welcomed back the presence of that is big man, Vinicius Jr., the Brazilian, after had gotten an injury when he was participating or when he was representing his native, that is Brazil. So coming back, He was an influential figure after having almost 2 attempts that were saved, that is by the goalkeeper of Morocco. Starmen, the likes of Jude Bellingham, who is the top scorer, that is in La Liga with 13 goals, was also there. But I think his only opportunity was only once when he headed that ball and was saved by the goalkeeper. Then later on, that is Morocco, we are somehow disciplined, that is in the defense. Not to concede more. However, in the 70th minute, that is Antonio Rudiger, the no-nonsense defender, managed to score a header that is from the corner, capitalizing on that is a corner kick. So they comfortably held on until the last minute, making sure that Real Madrid has now gone, that is 18 games, Mustafa, without a loss. Remember, they are doing well, that is domestically and even on European continent. In the Champions League, they managed to progress, that is to the round of 16 where they were topping their league, their group. Currently in the Liga, still they are still on the top of the summit, that is with 48 points, but this time leveled with Girona, but only being separated, that is by a goal difference.
Yeah. All right, let's go into a short break. After the break, of course, we're going to come back, talk about the game of Girona. Yesterday, they were able to beat Atletico de Madrid. Then we'll be also talking about the AFCON and the Asia Cup that's going to be happening this very January. Let's come back. Don't touch your dial. Madrid yesterday were beaten by Girona. Izcson, to most of the people that were thinking that Girona just wins by shock. I think it's all by chance. I think it's high time that
they prove out.
That they change their mind, that the team is coming. Because currently, like you talked about in the other segment, they're on top with the Real Madrid. And of course, they don't lose. I think the only game that they have lost was against Real Madrid.
They lost, that was the 3-1.
3-1.
They lost against Real
Madrid.
Madrid.
They have been able to beat most of the other teams that they have faced.
They went to Camp Nou, where everybody thought that maybe this is their time again to lose, and they comfortably won. That was 4-2. Then playing against another opponent, that is Atletico Madrid, who are currently sitting, that is in 3rd position, with that 4-3 win. I think it was a very huge statement to people, to the critics who were saying that maybe they are just winning by luck, maybe their time is done. But I think such a performance, if you watch that game, 4-3, more so killing off the game. Sometimes when the game is level 3-3, the big opponent that Atletico Madrid almost turns out to win that game. But this time, that is Girona were not well convinced with that 3-3, and they had to push it hard until the 91st minute when they cut, that is the winning goal. The good advantage, Atletico Madrid were open this time because, Mustafa, it is quite rare to see that Atletico Madrid has conceded 4 goals in a single game. To the way they are built, that is, they keep on defending so much, but this time they opened up the play to give Girona an upper advantage. To the person who did not know Girona for long, this Girona has just come into the league, not in... since its formation, it has only competed 4 times, that is in the top tier or in the Spanish La Liga, in all the times. So such a performance, it is really such a tremendous performance. Atletico Madrid, Alvaro Morata scored a hat-trick, but it wasn't enough to get them to either a draw or even to go on top, of that is Girona. So Girona managed, convincingly managed to win, that was 4-3, to level them up, that is with Real Madrid, that is on 48 points, just shy, just by goal difference. So any slender or any minor mistake, either made by Real Madrid, Girona can still bounce back, that is to the top of the summit, in that now we are heading into, that is the 2nd round of the games. We'll be going into game 20. That means for those one that thought that maybe Girona cannot do anything, I think it's high time for them to believe. This time in the top 5 leagues in Europe, I think we have gotten more teams that have tried to showcase that they are so much different this time. The likes of Bundesliga, we have Bayer Leverkusen that are also just winning for fun. And even here we have Girona who are also winning for fun. Either of those 2 teams, Mustafa, I'm quite sure one will make a shocker to emerge victorious with the title, so that they can also make those leagues more interesting. That's why the Premier League is more interesting. You may find that Leicester comes, takes the title, Arsenal takes the title, Chelsea takes the title, then Man City takes the title, Liverpool. We have almost like 6 teams that can take the title. But in Bayern Munich, for the last 10 times, or for the last 10 years in Germany, it is only one team. When it comes into that is League One, for the last 12 years, that is PSG has won 10 times. When it comes into that is Spain, it is Barcelona, Real Madrid. On a few occasions, Atletico Madrid has won twice in the last 10 years. You can really feel that it makes the trophy or the league more boring, and that's why the Premier League gets the more bragging rights that any opponent can go with a win. So Girona, if at all they can build on this and they take the title, maybe the Spanish La Liga would get more relief and more legacy or more value to the sporting world.
All right, of course, Celta Vigo and Real Betis, this game ended 2-1. It's also another game that was played yesterday. That is when it comes to the La Liga. Today we're going to be having a game, Las Palmas hosting Barcelona.
Yes.
What should we expect, of course, from Xavi? Should we expect maybe that Xavi will be losing this game? Because if he does, at least he will be opening up a very big
currently, they have 38 points. That is Barcelona FC. They are sitting, that is in the 4th position. Previously, they were the champions last season after comfortably taking the La Liga after almost 3 years without winning. So for last season, the Catalonians or the fans of Barcelona were very happy with the result, reason being that it had taken them 3 years without winning the La Liga. But on European competition, you remember Mustafa, they did not have a good spell after being ejected. That is first in the group stages last season. They got a chance to be taken to the Europa, and they were even ejected out by Manchester United. So their chances or their form on Europe wasn't all that better. This time, I think maybe Xavi has somehow released the pressure that is on the La Liga, reason being that they are the defending champions and they won the title. So this time, the concentration has been most that is in the Champions League, where they managed to top their group, and they currently qualify, that is the round of 16. I think that since the Champions League is on a break, we will be bouncing back, that is around the 13th to the 15th, that is of next month. So there is more room to improve. But Barcelona has been struggling. Even the previous game before we went into, that is the festive season, they had managed a draw with a weaker opponent. So against Las Palmas, who are also not all that far, they are on the second page, but I think they are 11th or 12th. So I think that they can also put a statement. However, if Barcelona's chances of getting back into a title contention are to bounce back, they have to win this game. Reason being that if they win this game, Mustafa, they will try to cut the difference and they make it, because currently Real Madrid are ahead of them by 10 points. So if they win today, they will cut the gap, that is to 70 points. At 7, at least you have further hopes of improving on that. However, if they falter and the gap goes to 13, I think it will be quite very difficult for them to either catch up Real Madrid or even to catch up, that is Girona. So big man, that is Robert Lewandowski, currently, who has 80 goals. Previous season was the top scorer, but this season things are not going on well. I think has to improve so that Barcelona can get back to winning ways.
All right, that's the game that is going to be happening today in La Liga. We'll be giving you more that will be coming in from that side. Tomorrow, we shall be giving you, of course, we were supposed to talk about the AFCON and the Asian Cup, players that are going to be missing this tournament, and of course, the impact that they're going to be causing to these teams, because this tournament is going to be happening in January. But of course, due to time, I think we shall be tackling this tomorrow. But Izcson, maybe lastly, I wanted to talk about Yusuf Attal. Yusuf Attal is an Algerian player, but of course he comes from, he's a player from Nice, but he comes from Algeria.
From Nice, yeah.
Yes, he was given an 8-month suspension sentence because he had some comments. You know, these countries, here in Uganda, I don't know whether it can be okay, maybe for a player to talk about maybe a war that is in Gulu or that is in Rwanda, but in such countries it's not of course okay, it's not good, because he had some comments that he wrote on his social media platforms that of course was deemed not to be good. But of course, even last time back, I think it was a year, he's the same player who was talking about, of course, some Semitic, of course, videos. He had to post it on his social media
handles.
Then after he deleted it. But of course, this time around, yes, he was given a ban even that time. But again, he's the same player that, of course, has been given a ban. 8 months, it's quite very, very big, almost a year.
I think he's some of the few players who stand by their say that he has to deliver out what is on his heart. Reason being that is attached by the wars that are taking place. So as for solidarity for all, you know, sometimes when you are an influential player, you are not the body, because the body makes the guidelines. You cannot stop them from doing anything unless maybe you have gotten support from other bodies. But if it's so, since they make the rules, there is nothing you can do. But also the player, he thinks it's right to say out what he pledges or what is on his heart. But an 8 months ban, I think it's quite long. That is an entire season. That means it's going to finish this season, because it is ending, that is in June, and then we'll start into another season. That means around October, or that is around August, when we are into preparation for the new season. That's when his ban will end. We never know, maybe they can make an appeal on that so that they can shorten that is the sentence, or it will still just continue. But to him, it will cost him, and even the team is playing for, that is Nice. I remember currently Nice are in second position, that is in the League One. That means they are trying to chase up, that is PSG, and has been one of some of the influential players. So it is a cost to the team. That means that many parties have lost out. Nice as football club, and even him also financially, I think maybe could continue getting his salary, but there are some also other bonuses that you get, match allowances, winning bonuses, and etc. So that one could also cost him. But we pray that maybe there are some changes or amendments that could be made into the article that can favor him to bounce back, that is, to football. All
right, that is what we had for today. Maybe your last comment is Izcson as you wind up.
I just welcome to the fans of football. Today we are starting the FA. The FA Cup is back. It will start tonight. That is the Crystal Palace will be taking on Everton. Then tomorrow also we have some games, and even Saturday, me as a fan of Chelsea will be taking on Preston North End. And then the biggest game to one of our fans there, most of our fans there, I think that will be Arsenal up against Liverpool. Remember, they are fighting out for the title. They previously made a 0-0 draw. So one of them is getting out of the trophy. That will be on Sunday, since this is a knockout trophy. Thanks for viewing. Till yours, I'm Izcson, Tega, the Sports Encyclopedia.
All right, we shall catch up tomorrow, same time. Like I've promised you, we'll be talking about, of course, the AFCON players and also the Asian players that will be missed by their teams. That is, of course, in this very festive season that, of course, you would think that their clubs need them more. So tomorrow, that's where we'll be starting off from, and of course a lot of things that will be happening over the weekend. For now, I'm going to be wishing you a good day and have a nice evening.